welcome to our episode 3. My name is Galee and
Orlandice.
This is Orlandice. We are so stoked to be filming our 3rd episode. We have received a ton of feedback, and it's just so nice to hear all the feedback.
We thank all of the love and the support and the positive feedback that we've been getting, especially when we launched our very first pilot episode, Rolling with the Punches. And it's kind of introduction to Galee and I, and kind of an insight into our entrepreneur life, juggling with the personal. And with all that feedback, it felt so warm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because we're on a path it's a lonely path. Entrepreneurship is very lonely, and so just to like put ourselves out there and be able to receive the feedback, it's been so empowering.
Yeah, I cannot agree more. And I would call her and I'm like, I'm so excited. But
we were expecting 10 views, but some of our videos has like 50 views. Our first video has 55, I think.
So thank you to all of our listeners.
So this week's episode is on accepting rejection. And then we're also going to touch a little bit about the silver lining of overcoming obstacles. So being a business owner, there's so many driving forces, and we just want to touch on how we have come to the place that we are today and how we've accepted all of the rejections that we've come along the way.
Okay, so how are you feeling?
Oh yeah, let's dive into our feelings. Yeah. I'm feeling like a little bit all over the place this week. I've been trying to catch up on my sleep, which I have. Orlandice will call me and she's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Napping." Always napping. But I'm trying to catch up on sleep. But with that being said, I feel a little bit more grounded, and I'll tell you why. So this week I was able to accomplish replying to all my emails.
Oh, good job.
It's like, oh my gosh, like I know that emails is a struggle for a lot of people because there's a lot of spam and you have to filter it through. It takes up hours in a day. And then I put a autoresponder for 72 hours.
That is okay. So that is like the best tip ever.
Yes.
Yeah. So you know that, your client or anybody who's reaching out doesn't think that you're like ignoring them.
Yeah. For business, it's so important, and I think it would be good for me. I just started it 3 days ago, so I don't really know exactly how well it's going to be, but I assume that it's going to be good. But to explain what I did was I just put on my autoresponder on emails that I'll be able to get back to emails within 72 hours. Mm-hmm. That's essentially what I wrote. Because life gets a little busy, right? Especially right now. So that was my accomplishment. I feel a lot better. And then also yesterday I threw out 6 bags of clothes. So I feel like I'm ridding a lot of past weight, and just I just feel a little bit more refreshed this week.
Nice. I like your outfit.
Thank you. I love yours. The color looks good on you.
Thank you. I love bright colors right now.
Yeah. I'm more my grounded, or my earth tone colors. I love my earth tones. How are you feeling?
I think I feel the same as you. I know I'm starting to feel the overwhelm of, again, emails. And I'm just like, okay, my to-do list. And sometimes when I just don't hit the to-do list, all of it, I'm just like, okay, I need to ground myself again. Yeah. And tomorrow's a new day. We're only one person. Yeah.
Do you have a metric that you have in your to-do list? Like, do you aim for 3 a day, 5 a day, or how do you kind of control your
priorities too? Priorities, and then also to how the duration, okay, I need to get this and this done, I need to do these drawings, I need to overlook these drawings, I need to send these emails, I need to do these purchase orders. Okay, this is exactly what's in my brain.
a lot.
Yeah. But I know if you just keep checking in with the client, or even if you're like, okay, Orlandice, you know, you just keep like responding back. And I know it could get a little overwhelming, but I think that's when you do also need to ground yourself too after being overwhelmed, because then you just have to release this like stress vibes and everything's gonna work out.
It's definitely an anxiety, like, whatchamacallit, like, it drives anxiety up to have like a long to-do list.
Oh, especially when you have like that overwhelm. You're like, oh my God, I could feel it.
Yeah.
And then I can relate to you right now. I was like, oh my God, I can feel it too.
What was that? What, do you want to tell them the story of last week when I was at your house?
Oh my God.
But what I was saying was, like, at your house, where David was like, hey, do you want to come over to my house tonight? And
she actually pulled out her phone. No, I kid you not. Pulled out her phone, and she was looking at her timetable. I was like, are you scheduling him in tonight?
I'm scheduling my boyfriend into my schedule. No, I was not doing that. This is where like a lot of my anxiety comes from, my schedule, because I time block everything, which has been the greatest tip to organize myself, but it's also been one of the main drivers of anxiety for me. So I time block everything, just like school, just like university. So if I have to pertain to a certain email and I can't do it right now, I'll time block 15 minutes and I'll put it into my schedule. And so when David asked me if I was planning to come over tonight, I had to check to see what was happening tomorrow morning, so I know that if I sleep over, like, all these things go across my mind. If I sleep over tonight, then that means I'm going to potentially feel rushed in the morning to go back home to get ready to do whatever I need to do. So that is the thought process every time he asks me, hey, are you planning to come over tonight? I'm like, okay, I need to know what's happening tomorrow morning.
Well, that's good. But from my other side, I was like, did she do that? But it's funny. That's true entrepreneur hair. I'll tell you what's up. Yeah. That's funny.
I'm on a schedule. What are we talking about today?
Well, let's
affirmations.
Okay. You brought in something that was really cool last episode, and we are going to continue this on with the next episode.
Yes.
And maybe this would be homework for you guys out there to train your brain and say an affirmation each day you wake up.
Yes. Or it could be the same affirmation for a full week, just so that you can grain it into your brain. I know that, like, for me, sometimes I have to say the same affirmation for like 3 weeks straight in order for me to like really grasp that.
Yeah.
So,
what is your affirmation?
My affirmation this week, I want to say is I am enough. And the reason why I say I am enough is because I think a driving force to why I do the things that I do, why I always feel rushed, why I'm always taking on all these tasks, is that I feel like I need to prove something. Like, and it's just like, and the question might be to who, but I think there's so many factors. I might be wanting to prove partially to my parents, partially to myself, partially to maybe all the people that has rejected me in my past. And I just want to kind of like go about the world and almost like be like, F you, I could do this. Which isn't the healthiest drive for, business, I'm gonna just say, but like it was a start to why I started entrepreneurship. So I think I just want to remind myself today that I am enough and that I'm doing enough, that I'm doing great things.
Yeah.
And
you're on the right path.
And that I'm on the right path, yes.
Yeah.
What's your affirmation for the week?
I want to be kind to myself with compassion. I feel like I could relate to that a lot. But just being kind to myself, because I'm so hard on myself when it comes to not giving myself credit.
Mm-hmm.
I get myself real down, and then I need to like get myself out and be like, you know what, I came this far.
Yes.
I need to keep going, and I need to appreciate myself
Yes.
and take care of myself.
Absolutely. I always have to remind you too. I'm like, girl, you're doing amazing. Like, you're doing so many great things.
And I don't know, I think maybe it is kind of a perfectionist mentality.
Yeah.
Along with just trying to do my best, juggling, being a mom, business, and just trying to hold things up. I do get really down on myself. So just trying to take care of myself and treat myself nicely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You have a lot of pressure. Like,
it is.
Like being a business owner while being a mother of two, while, just being able to uphold all your relationships that you value, and you do value your relationships with friends and family.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot to uphold, and your partnerships with business.
Yeah.
Right? So there's so much to uphold, and I think you're doing a phenomenal, phenomenal,
Thank you.
like, you're doing phenomenal with it all.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You too, girl.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm trying. I mean, I think it's just, we have to take it day by day, right? I like what we said last week, where we are only in 1.5 year of our business, and that is like a reminder that, the fact that we're doing all of these things already, and it's 1.5 years, it says a lot about, like, how driven we both are, and ambitious, and how courageous we both are, because not everyone would be willing to create a business, create partnerships in business while throwing a podcast into the mix.
Oh my gosh. Who would know we would be doing a podcast?
Yeah. And I mean, this is, no one sees the behind the scenes of the podcast, it's a lot of work. Like,
it is.
The editing process and the planning of what we're going to talk about, so that we can bring value to this to the topics and to the conversation. It's a lot of work, and then maintaining maintaining those relationships online, because we want people to be engaged with us and our platform. So there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes.
Yeah, and then we want to be doing workshops to provide the creativity out there with you guys, that we can engage with everybody out there and have fun, and partner up with beautiful venues around the city, so we could showcase artists, the venue, aesthetics, instructors, and just celebrate everybody's background.
Yeah, and just share our vision. I think at the end of it, those workshops is a vision and a projection of like what we imagine to be like a great event, great community, as well as like great artistry and design. So I'm excited to share that.
And I love that our affirmations are very tied to the topics we're going to be talking about
today.
Yeah. So going into our first topic, which is accepting rejection, I could probably tell you that Galee and I have had our fair share of feeling the rejection card.
Yes.
And I know all of you have felt that too. And I think this is kind of a good topic that we could personally share with you guys about how the feeling of rejection is. Like, it's really hard to kind of go over it. It's the feeling that you get from getting rejected, whether it is like your job place, business, dating, in the dating world, the social settings, or even in your goals, like in financial. And I know, when you say one door closes, one door will open, or maybe that door closes for now. Maybe it's just bad timing, and down the road, you guys meet again, whether it be relationships or anything. Yeah. And the door opens. Yeah. And it just like, maybe there is a reason that rejection did take form, because maybe you're not on that right path. You're on this other path, and you're meant to be on this other path, and there's another door waiting for you. So we are going to go into examples of how, overcoming that, and coping with rejection. Yeah.
So do you want to start? Maybe give an example of how this all started, or like where do you remember your first rejection?
So I remember my very first rejection, but I thought it was like the end of the world when it came into me actually feeling the rejection in the design world. So I competed in Miss Universe Canada in 2009, so I was a baby. And I remember I worked my butt off all year, going to Calgary, training and stuff. And when I went to Toronto and competed, I didn't make top 15. And that crushed me. Mm-hmm. It crushed me because you worked so hard and you start comparing. And I thought that was the worst rejection I ever had until I got into the design field. And I think when I went into the design field, that's where I really wanted, that was where my passion was, and that's where I wanted to grow, not into the pageantry world. Like, no, this was like my home base. And so going into that career, feeling the rejection, that was like the most crushing. But it's the overcoming the obstacles, and that door kept closing. And for example, like and this is maybe other designers, even other business owners, even if you're in a different field, you might feel like relate to what I feel like. But going into, I worked for a company, and I loved what I created. I loved doing the design renderings. I loved meeting with the clients. I just loved, the selections, and that's where I wanted to be. I knew that's where my strengths were. That's where I wanted to do, but I felt that it was always blocked when it came to me being in that position.
What do you mean? Like, how are you blocked in that position?
I just felt that every time I wanted to touch on being in a certain position in the company, I always felt that it was blocked.
Like when you wanted to expand or grow.
Yeah,
or
grow with that company.
Right.
And I just felt like I just kept getting blocked. Like, and that's when I started like thinking, am I good enough? Like, and that's like, am I good enough? Like,
start to self-doubt.
Self-doubt.
Yeah.
What do I need to be in that situation? Like, what do I need to be like, I think I'm pretty good. Like, and I kept, and what really sucked is like I kept picking on myself, and I was like, okay, I'm going to do this better. Maybe I'm lacking this. Maybe I'm lacking this. Maybe I could get this. And you can't, if that door closes, like maybe it's a sign like that is not your journey. Maybe, or it's not your journey for now. Maybe I need to work on things. Mm-hmm. But I've learned to accept that. And if I didn't leave, I wouldn't be in the position I am today.
Right.
Which is I get to do all the like concepts with clients and create these beautiful homes and businesses, and I work alongside a business partner that we get to do it together.
Yeah, it's led you to the path that you're on now.
Exactly. Yeah. And now I'm doing a podcast and workshops with you.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be in this path if I was still staying there trying to figure out what
where you belong.
Exactly.
In that group of people.
It teared me down.
Yeah.
But I'm happy because I was like, okay, and then you feel that uncomfortable. Like you're like, okay, I'm going to step out of this bubble. I'm going to jump in that water and I'm going to try this out. Yeah. And it's the most uncomfortable.
It's so scary to jump outside your comfort zone.
But I'm happy I jumped into the water.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, what is your, how did you overcome the rejection? Like what?
So one of my rejections was, I guess going into, the almost a big reason of why I am in entrepreneurship was because there's a part of me that always felt like I was an outcast growing up. And that stemmed from like junior high, high school, social groups that I was in. And I just never felt like I truly belonged in a group. And so it's funny because I remember being in high school and I was working with my mom at her salon, and one of the clients asked me, what do you want to be when you finish school? And I was like, I just know I don't want to work for anybody. And she's like, She laughed at me. She's like, huh, yeah, good luck with that. And I'm like, what? Like, what? I think it's just, I've seen my mom, you know, run her own business, and she oversees everything. So I always have seen and knew that it was possible for me too. My mom's my inspiration. So
she is awesome.
yeah, my mom is a sweetheart.
Yeah.
So when people tell me like, oh, well, you know, you're not going to get very far with just doing everything on your own, or like, you know, having your own business, it just makes me feel like I'm going to show you that I can. So it's almost like a lack of, or a society's doubt in me has driven me to be more confident in the decisions that I make. So an example of like when I felt rejected was, I guess, in the workplace. So there's a few times that I have felt rejected in the workplace, probably starting high school and university. Whenever I worked for groups, I'm definitely the more analytical, I'm more quiet, I'm more shy, I'm more introverted type of worker. So I know that in our society that the loud, rambunctious, sort of extroverted personality always wins. And they overshadow the introvert. And sure, I might be a very analytical person, but my voice isn't heard. And in the workplace, I've just experienced where people talk about me, like I can hear them whispering about me, or they treat me differently. If I'm talking to them, they'll look down on me condescendingly. Always in like a corporate or business environment, or like in a work environment. And I don't understand why I get the condescending, you know, tone, right? So I'm sure that there's stuff that I can work on to, you know, be a better communicator. But when people assume that I'm stupid and not intelligent, it makes me feel like, you know what, like nobody just believes in me. You know, there's so much doubt in the world in me. So I guess that's a big drive of why I chose to be an entrepreneur as well, because to me it alleviates my anxiety. It alleviates so much mental self-doubt, and it has made me so much more confident and accountable for all of my actions.
Yes, I feel the confidence from it.
Yes,
I could
relate to that.
How would you, like, you know, when you talk about believing and like the self-doubt and stuff, how does that affect mental health? Like, how do you?
Gosh.
Yeah.
Okay. This is gonna get a little deep, but I guess this is the purpose of the podcast, right?
Yeah.
So in university, I experienced depression, and I do think it was because there were just so many factors in my life that made me really self-doubt myself. So being a student and not having a career yet, you know, university in itself, you're questioning your identity. Like, where do you belong in society? What if you fail school? What if you don't make it and you don't graduate? Like, and what courses should you take in order to pursue your path? Because maybe, you know, you're spending $30,000 on education tuition. Like, you should be figuring out where you want to go with your career. So that was a big anxiety thing already. And then tying in with parents' pressure of like making sure you choose the right path. And you know, my parents are immigrant parents, so like it's not risky, but like they spent their life savings to ensure that I can have a better education and to be set up for life in Canada. So the pressure of me feeling like the first generation in my family to like go to university is like, you better not screw this up. Like, you better choose the right path so that you can maximize the use of that tuition and really make your parents proud that you chose this path.
I like, it's crucial when it comes to mental health, because I could personally say that I do deal with like the forms of major anxiety. And when it comes to, the form of rejection, you literally rip yourself apart. Why do I feel like this? Like, what could I have done better? Why do they reject me? is there something wrong with me? And there's nothing wrong with you.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with you. It's just
You're just different.
You're just, you know what? It's not going to work, or it's not going to work for now.
Yeah.
The door is closed. Let's go to another door, kind of thing. And we have to train our brains like that, because then, we get down on ourselves.
Yes.
Yeah.
I like to think of it as L's and W's, losses and wins.
Yeah.
And whenever I'm down on myself, this is what I had to self-teach myself when I was experiencing depression in university, was that you need to collect wins. You need to stack wins, stack W's. You need to find those little wins, whether it could be as small as like waking up earlier in the morning. So like, let's say you are always sleeping until noon, like being a student, like, right? And maybe you just want to, maybe waking up at 9 in the morning will just be like, wow, I actually have more time in my day. That might be a small accomplishment. So small little wins will make you feel more accomplished in certain aspects of your life. And then, those failures won't feel as big. That makes sense.
Oh my God, I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or another thing that I did here was like, it's okay if you lost it, because there's something new and better coming.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, another thing too I have had to teach myself is to not be not fall victim to your circumstances.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, you have the power and the mindset to create your environment. I know that sounds easier said than done, because there's so many factors that could affect your mindset. If you're down already and you're suffering through anxiety and depression, it is frustrating, and I can speak upon experience. It is frustrating to try to get yourself up and go at your day, because that depression is so heavy. But it's the little wins, it's the little reminders that you tell yourself every single day that, hey, like, you are capable of going about your day, and you are capable of achieving those small little wins. Those little wins that you create for yourself and for your mind will do you wonders. I know it sounds kind of like minor to the bigger picture, but if you tell yourself like, hey, I'm gonna cook myself dinner tonight instead of ordering out, that little win, that might just like make you feel more, I don't know, empowered to go and like do something else now.
Yeah, I agree. And not force it. Don't force it.
No, don't force it. Don't shame yourself.
Yeah, don't force it.
You have to really believe that you are capable. That's like the biggest piece too. I have a friend who used to always say, if you don't believe in yourself, believe in me who believes in you.
Oh, I love that.
Isn't that cute?
Yes.
Because oftentimes we believe in our friends,
Yeah.
right? We believe in the people closest to us, but then you self-doubt yourself.
Yeah.
So if you believe in your friends and your friends believe in you, believe in that friend that believes in you.
Yeah. Because it'll lift you up.
Yes.
Like we touched on rejection, and this is kind of ties into the second wow, I can't talk today.
No worries. No.
The second subject, which is what is the silver lining and overcoming obstacles. Yeah.
So like the silver lining of overcoming obstacles, what it means is that we can work through a challenge in order to achieve a goal. So whether it be financial, business, personal, emotional, just I was talking about like your mental health, or your career even. So like, I think, through our conversation just now, we did touch on, the silver lining and how we've come to be where we are today because of the rejections and obstacles that we've encountered. But to be honest, like, I feel I wouldn't have this accountability when I say accountability is like every single aspect of my business and personal life rests on me. And I wouldn't have had to think about all of these things or feel responsible to until if I didn't have this business. I've had to think about the financial aspect. I've had to think about like my social interactions with my family and friends. I've had to think about my mental health, my physical fitness, and my physical resilience when it comes to my brain power and my body, right? So I think through everything, I am who I am today, being 28.
What give an example of what obstacle you overcome in the last few days.
Ooh, in the last few days, those emails for sure.
Yeah, that is an obstacle.
Like it doesn't sound that challenging, to be honest, but it's a tie between, I get drained very easily with people. I'm very introverted. But it doesn't seem like it, I know, because I'm an extrovert introvert. I can be extroverted in social settings, but truly I'm an introvert. I love being by myself, and I love just like not being bothered. So to have over 100 emails in my inbox is like anxiety through the roof.
Yes.
And the thing is, my emails aren't fast emails. They're not like a one thing reply. Every single email, or at least 50% of my emails, is like tying into a bigger project. And so, I have to really sit down and spend a good 5 minutes like thinking about like what the next steps is within that project. I counted the other day, I'm juggling 15 things, like 15 actual projects. It's crazy. And I didn't realize that I was multitasking that many things until I wrote it down, because I was having a conversation with a friend. Like, overcoming emails have just made me feel a bit more, I don't know, like in control of my life. Yeah. And the silver lining, I guess, the silver lining of answering emails is that I actually feel like those projects are now progressing. Like they're moving along the chain of commands that has to happen in order for those projects to move forward. Because if I don't respond, the projects stop. Yeah. So. Yeah. How about yours? Like, what do you think the silver lining of overcoming obstacles are?
Every day is an obstacle. For me.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like it.
Yeah.
When you're juggling a business and then kids and then personal, it's really hard to stay focused. And I feel when it comes to working in the design field, in the construction, especially when it comes to renovating a project, there's always something that's going to pop up. And I'm so used to it now. I'm like, oh yeah, there's going to be something. But we always, and this is a little tip, like, if you are a designer or if like anything that can relate into, like, say, we deliver the bad news. Let's just face it. We deliver the bad news to the client, whether if there's something that happened and, we need to address it. But I've learned to, when I do find, okay, this is the problem, I'm going to think of one or two solutions. So then when I do talk to the client, I'd be like, we could, for instance, example, the tile is backlogged. It's not going to come in. And we have the tile installers in. So what should we do? We could pick another tile that's in stock in city already that is very similar. It's not the one that you wanted, or that we could have it on site just in time. Or if you want to wait for that tile, but it's going to push back lead time for the project. And that gives the client a selection and a choice.
It also limits the choices and options for your client so that it's an easier decision.
Oh, yeah. So then they're like, oh, okay, like they already thought of this. This is how much it's going to be. This would be a change order. And I feel that at the beginning, when I had to deliver bad news like that, I had major anxiety. I was like, oh my God, it's the end of the world. But it's not the end of the world. No. You always come with a solution. And the solution, it's just maybe a little bump. It's good. This is what's happening. On to the next. Because if you let that tear you down, you can't focus to everything else.
No.
No.
Business is business too, right?
Yeah.
It's like you're giving your client the most honest truth, and at the end of the day, the client still has the choice of how they want to go about it. It's not your responsibility to take on that fault.
Exactly. And you're out of control. So like I feel that sometimes we like to be in control, and when it's out of our control, it's
that situation in itself, you can't control it. You can't control the outcome of that situation.
But you can control solutions.
Right. You can. So what is the silver lining of that obstacle?
I feel that when it comes to those type of issues, talking it out with, say, like a business partner, and then coming back with a solution. Like, I'm getting better. I'm like, okay, as a designer, it's not just like paint colors and drawings. Yeah, you run into some issues like that, and it's being able to present the bad news. Like, let's face it, we all have to face the bad news or tell the client the bad news, but it's how we could overcome it.
Yeah, and how to navigate that situation.
Yeah. And not let us tear us apart. Yeah. Yeah, because we all are human. Like, we are that third party that gives the bad news. Yeah.
You're the middle woman. I was gonna say middleman. You're the middle woman between the person that is going to provide you with the supplies that you need in order to deliver to the client. Yeah. And her needs, right? Yeah. So, being that you are that middle person to connect these two parties, there is a lot of communication skills that you have to learn and gain in order to like successfully deliver the needs of your clients.
And I'm still learning this.
For sure. Me too.
Yeah. The communication, like I'm still learning how to navigate emails.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. This whole topic is about communication.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think communication is huge in business, and like being an introvert, someone who's shy, this is, another thing that I wasn't able to, get over was picking up the phone. I don't know, maybe it's my generation or like the younger generation, but I hate answering phone calls, and that's I'm way past that now. But in university, and the first year out of university, whenever my phone rings, anxiety's through the roof again. Like,
yes.
Did you have that too?
Oh my gosh.
You did? Okay, it's not just me.
Having two phones and them going off. I'm like, oh, my heart's in the ground right now.
Yeah. Because I always feel like there's like a problem coming at me, or like if it is someone who is calling me and there's an expectation or needs to be met. I think coming back full circle with my self-doubt and anxiety, I didn't believe enough that I can deliver to people confidently. And it could be a complete stranger who's trying to pitch a sales call to me. But like, I always felt like I had to appease people in those phone calls. And so I don't know if I think, to be honest, I stacked my W's and I got better at being able to control other aspects of my life, that when my phone rings now, I'm like, okay, cool. It's just another thing I have to add to my plate. And this is so minuscule. Answering a phone call is so small, and it is such a necessity in business that I don't think twice about answering my phone now.
And scheduling phone calls in, because a phone call could lead into like a 20-minute phone call or an hour phone call.
Absolutely.
So like maybe scheduling in, okay, in the mornings I'm gonna be doing phone calls. Yeah. The whole morning's written off. So like I will be able to get back to the messages. I will I feel like I'm better at text messaging too. So like if you send me a text, I'm way better. Like I could see it.
Right.
And then answer it later. Or I can, like, if I'm on the go and it's just a quick answer, I was just like, okay, I'm gonna, like, I feel text messaging is way better. And then, scheduling in those phone calls in the morning. So you could just get those all out of the way, because phone calls do take a lot of time.
I was gonna ask you, like, do you ever feel like there's phone calls that just run on and you're like, oh my gosh, like I've only accounted and thought this was going to be a 20 or 30 minute phone call, and then it goes on to like an hour?
But
like,
I do sometimes like enjoying talking.
I know.
I'm like, okay, when you want to go for coffee?
Yeah.
Yeah, what are you wearing? Okay, like let's go. I start going into like, get really like, I'm
Personal.
I'm very genuine.
Yeah.
So like when it comes to like maybe talking to a client, I want to get to know how they're feeling that day. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, okay. Like, how are you doing? Like, but maybe I was like, okay, maybe I could cut a little bit of that out and then maybe come back and be like, hey, what's up?
Yeah. Yeah, right?
Yeah.
I think that isn't an obstacle because that's an impediment to your time, right?
Yeah.
Like what you would have been devoting that 20 minutes or 30 minutes into your business it's now gone.
Yeah.
And it's a constant obstacle for me too.
Yeah.
I've started to be better at communicating and letting people know that, hey, like, I only have 30 minutes allocated for this phone call, just so you know. And lately I've had to stack my meetings. So in the beginning of a phone call, I'll just let people know, hey, I just have to be off this call by like, and then I just let them know the time, just so that they can have forewarning, however they decide to use that call.
That is a good idea. Mm-hmm. I know. I love my clients, so I do like to chat a lot.
But I also, like with my clients, I also respect their time too, right? So if it is taking longer than expected, I always ask them, hey, is this, or even the beginning of call, like, hey, is this a good time to talk? And then I just let them know, like, I just need 20 minutes of your time. And then if the call does go over and it seems like the client is like very interested and engaged with you too, because I mean not every client is going to be as engaged. Some people are just, they're just a business relationship, and then some people are more personal, like you might just click personally too, right?
Yeah.
So I've had to be able to at least set the expectation, and then if we both decide to go over, then we're like, this is longer than expected, but we love it. Yeah.
No, I agree.
So I guess this is going to be a little bit of a shorter episode. I know we touched on some brief examples, but let's close it with what were your goals last week, and did you accomplish them?
Well, my goal was to do a little bit of self-love, so I take half hour of my time, whether it was to like read, meditate, gym. I started reading a book. I don't have it here, but maybe I'll put it in the link.
Yeah.
It is The Biggest Mistake.
Okay.
Yeah. And I started reading it. It's pretty cool. It is a director from in Hollywood, and he touches on all these actors and basically just saying, some of them have screwed up and have like it did crush their career, but how they overcome it.
Ooh, so relevant to our topic.
So I'll put that in there. I've taken baths. I did go to the gym. I like to sit in the sauna because it's kind of like my own meditation.
I love that.
And my new goal is, me and my cousin are signing up for a 10K run in Banff.
Whoa,
in
cool.
September, and I can only run 2K. So I need to like start training.
Yeah, that's gonna be a big push.
Yeah, so that I'm gonna start training this week.
Yeah. That's awesome. Oh my gosh, I'm excited for you. Is it in the summertime?
It is in the summer.
Okay.
Or fall time.
Okay.
September.
Oh, it's gonna be a little chilly then.
Yeah. How about you? How is your goals coming along?
It was good. Okay, so one obstacle I found. So my goal was connecting with loved ones, and I said I was gonna talk to 2 people. I found that I did connect with them, but however, with my timing being like, I wasn't as invested in my phone, and I wasn't able to like fully sit and talk with them because I communicate primarily through text message. So if I'm really present on my phone, then like we can have a full-on conversation going back and forth. But I found that even with connecting with 2 people, which I did, my conversation is very short. It's like, hey, we like talk, and then I'll put my phone away, and then I'm doing my other thing, and then I'll get back to it like when I have time, right? So conversation wasn't as fluid as I would like it to be. And I do think I would want to keep that goal for next week, and now just try to maybe devote 15 minutes onto my phone, and if they're also there, just to like be be engaged in that 15 minutes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I love how we were just talking about conversations, how we could prolong the conversation.
Yeah. Okay, see, and this is where, like, I find that my business relationships can be long.
Yeah.
And then my family and friends get the short end of the stick, where, like, they're more short.
Yeah.
I don't know if people can relate to that. I think I need to work on that.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to have my closest friends and family to have the shortest amount of time from me. But I know they also understand. Like, they're like, no, you need to invest time into your business because it's still a baby and you need to grow it. So, go do your thing. We'll be here, sort of thing,
Mm-hmm.
But I'm very conscious that I do that, and I'm like, I need to spend more time with my friends and family.
Okay, well, I will text you. I will text you. Make sure you text a loved one today.
Thank you. That reminder would be awesome. So yeah, I guess to conclude is just everything that glitter ain't gold. So everything that you see in the front end isn't always as glamorous in the back end.
No.
And we have a lot of obstacles that we're all trying to achieve, whether it be mental, financial. There's a lot of stresses, but we're all in this together.
Yeah, and that is actually our subject for our episode 4, Everything That Glitters Ain't Gold.
Oh, that was the topic for next week. Oh, my bad.
But I love how you transitioned that. I was like, damn.
I love that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, thank you guys so much for hanging out with us for the 3rd episode. If you have been listening to us since day 1, thank you. You are so appreciated. Please remember to subscribe to our YouTube. Follow us on Spotify. If you're listening on Apple or Google Podcasts, we are on there now. So give us a follow and then review us on Spotify. Yeah. So give us a 5-star, 4-star, whatever you think.
We love reading all of your messages and feedback. And yes, subscribe. I cannot bug you guys to do that.
And then where you can leave comments, that is really, really valuable to us, is comments in the YouTube, on our YouTube videos. And then we have a little guest book wall on our link in bio and Instagram, that you can leave a wall. It's just like quotables, golden nuggets, or just even comments about our podcast that is live to the public. And then, hang out with us on social media. We're on Twitter, we're on Instagram and Facebook.
We'll see you next episode.
Yeah, thank you.